Hey, and hello again. Today we are talking about Sifu. Sifu is a game that teaches discipline. If you want to be a real Kung Fu master, treat each opponent with respect, otherwise you will get knocked out by our opponents, and when you regain consciousness, you will find that you are grown old in the meantime. Plus 1 year, plus another 2, plus 10, plus 2000. Before you know it, you're already an old man of 70, and you won't be able to get up after the next fight. The main thing is to understand in time that you can't play Sifu wrong. Drawing parallels with Sleeping Dogs and Batman, Arkham is your head. You want to stand in center of the room and beat off the attacks of stupid enemies, watching beautiful animation. However, at first this is a lousy tactic. Using it tests your luck because the enemies are not stupid at all. For a reason, the location were made quite large. You can climb up to the second floor, then jump out the window and get into the next room. User environment should be used at every opportunity. And this is not the only lesson to be learned. The protagonist of Sifu is young Kung Fu apprentice who survived in his childhood the death of his father. He was killed by some scoundrels. He spent all his young training and at the age of 20 he set out for revenge. His list of targets consists of 5 names, and each of these people is in a different location. Some are hiding in the factory grounds, some spend time in the club, and so on. The path to the villain at first is only one, and it's not easy. You have to defeat several dozen ordinary opponents and in addition a couple of mini bosses. Weak blow, strong blow, block and party, rebound. The set of moves here is standard. To complex things, there is no indicator about the heads of your enemies, so you can switch their attacks in a split second. Over time, you learn how to react in time. This is the first step to being prepared for really tough challenge, because the bumps from the first location are no match for the bravos from the later stages. However, even these bumps can be quite nerve-wracking for the unprepared player. In addition to simple attacks, which are successfully parried by timely pressing, there are also strong attacks. Usually the opponents finish combos with them, and their limbs start to glow for a second. Block works as such moments, except that each attack you absorb eats up some of your stamina. When you run out of stamina, your character gets stunned and vulnerable, and that's usually not a good thing. This also applies to enemies. If you beat them so badly that you're tired of getting punched, you can use a finishing move on them with 2 taps. There is where another mechanic becomes useful, the dodge in the block. In the training it was given so little time that only after a couple of hours I remembered about its existence. The essence is simple. Every time your opponent hits you, move the stick in the opponent's direction. If he's taking a hit, move the stick up, aiming at the body, bringing it down, swinging just to the left or right. It sounds easy to do, but it's impossible to pass the game without it. All 5 these bosses, for example, are based on these mechanics, and in general when you use it, some moments no longer seem impossible, although they still make you sweat. When you learn the skill of dodging, it seems that you are capable of anything. You are no longer bouncing off ordinary bullets in terror, but definitely avoiding their blows. Then you become even more confident and no longer run around the room looking for bottles that will temporarily stun your target. There are not many types of enemies, but all require special approach. Some make long combination of punch, just time to react. Some like to get undercut every time you smack when you pick up the stick on time. Someone strong and big, someone frail and falls down with 2 strikes. It's easy to tell by their appearance who is whom. But at first the player is a poor Kung Fu master. He can't even push stools. To improve, you need to earn points at the levels, and their numbers depends on the accumulated combo. If you often dodge, beat everyone in a row, and do not take damage, the counter rises much faster. Missing a hit, the counter decreases slightly. Miss another one, the combo reset completely. The feat you bought with points will only be available on this playground, and to take it permanent, you need to invest the same amount of points 5 more times. It sounds like a grind, but there aren't that many available moves on the list. About all of them are two situations and only useful on few occasions, so you can do without them. There is no feeling that buying them will simplify the passage. Success depends on the player. But some items in the local store are very valuable. For example, the combination with which the character quickly shortens the distance and kicks often saves. Perhaps the most interesting feature of Sifu is the lives system. When you are knocked out by the enemy, you can resurrect in the same place. Enemies will remain the same. Their health will not be restored, weapons will lie in the same places, except that the character will age. The first death will add 1 year, the second 2, and so on. Every 10 years, the returning character will change, and not externally, his strength will begin to grow, and his maximum health will decrease. A 60-year-old man is the strongest of all, but he can take as many hits as a 20-year-old guy, and at 70 he is dead. So if you were killed 10 times on the first level, but still go through it and defeat the boss, there is nothing to reduce. There are 4 more locations ahead, and the character has no much time left to live. So at some point you start replaying the levels. The more permanent improvements are unlocked, and the better you understand the mechanics, the easier it is to achieve more solid results. Plus, the game has a lot of opportunities to reduce the number of deaths. The mini-boss will meet, then one of the regular mobs will refuse to die and restore health, also becoming a kind of mini-boss. Sometimes rooms with such enemies are unnecessary. If the death count is already 0, there is no reason to go in there. And before you reach the boss, you will be able to knock shortcuts, while chunks of level can be skipped. This makes it easy to get through. But I'll recommend running the levels in their entirely, as you will miss 1 or 2 statues with passive bonuses if you use the shortcuts, and they are so important. One increases weapon damage and the amount of stamina it removes from the enemy. The other increases your stamina and allows you to absorb damage longer. There aren't many opportunities to acquire them. A big plus is that if you defeat the boss, the purchased passives will be carried over to the other level. So if you successfully clear the first location, you won't have to go back to it. You can reach the ideal level on the second, then go to the third, and so on to the final. For me, Sifu became a game I either hated or adored. One day I regretted that I agreed to write this review, the next I was glad there was such an opportunity. Each new boss that increased my death count and turned the hero into an old man seems invisible. One was extremely fast, another was throwing knives, the third had some forbidden combination, but over time they could only get through with 1 or 2 deaths. There is an achievement key for reaching the finals as a 25 years old character. You have to die less than 5 times in the entire game, and if at first it seems like a mockery, it also helps that Sifu is completely consistent with the aphorism "beauty is simplicity". There is no right of colors here, and the design of some location is minimalist, but the style holds up 100%. Rare engine video clips with charismatic bosses, perfect camera work during fights and finishings, glass breaking and tables breaking at the slightly touch. Each scene is beautiful in its own way thanks to the details. Schools of martial arts teach you to never give up, never stop practicing and give your all, even if the technique is not perfect. Voluntary or involuntary, the authors of Sifu have created a game that follows these principles from beginning to end. It is merciless to those who are not ready to play by its rules and reward for thoughtful use of available mechanics. Therefore, even if you hate it at times, by the end this feeling turns into great love. Thank you for watching.